What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. By the title of this video, whatever it's going to be, I'm assuming you already know what it's about. We are working on the old 7.3 again today. As I said in the last video, it is up on blocks right now, waiting on some parts to finish off the leveling kit on the truck. Figure while it's up on blocks and I already have the wheels off and everything, might as well get some other work done while it's all torn apart. So today we are going to be installing a new set of locking hubs on the truck, specifically a set of mile marker locking hubs on the truck. Really nice high-end upgrade over the factory locking hubs. Went back and forth on whether I was going to do worn hubs or mile markers. They both have very, very good reviews, but one very important thing is the mile markers are about $100 or more cheaper. So they both have very good reviews. I'll save a little bit of cash and throw in the mile markers. I think they will do very well. If any of you guys own one of these 7.3 Powerstroke Super Duty trucks, which I'm guessing a lot of you guys do if you're watching this, you'll know that the factory hubs on these trucks are okay, but they are frequently a pain to try to turn on and off or to lock and unlock. They really get bound up, and when you're in crummy conditions, which you usually are if you're going to be locking the hubs, it can be a major pain to lock the hubs on these trucks. And especially for me, I don't have full function or strength in my hands, and so to be able to lock and unlock, I want it to be as easy as possible. So for a nice increase of reliability and function on my truck, I will be installing a nice set of new mile marker hubs on the truck. Kind of doing a lot of this work as much as I can up front because I am going to be taking this truck hunting in about a month. That's when a little over a month deer season starts, and I want this thing to be as reliable as possible before I drive it out into the wilderness. I'm sure you guys can understand. So this is another one of those upgrades that I just want done before I go out into the middle of nowhere. So I think that's enough talking. Let me show you guys what we're looking at. This should be a pretty darn simple install. All right, guys, so looking at your factory hub, it should look just like this. In order to get it off, you're going to need a pair of pliers to get this snap ring off here. All in all, as far as extra tools you're going to need, probably, well, a set of pliers, a pry bar might be helpful, and then a small soft blow or dead blow mallet or hammer might be helpful too, and you'll see why. So to start off, we're going to get the snap ring off here. And you don't have to take your tires off to do this. I just already had them off, so it helps. But you got your factory snap ring off here. That's nice and easy. And now this might be a little bit of a stubborn. This one's not bad, but a little trick is to just give it a few whacks. And break it free. And then it should come out nice and easy. There you go. This one is bone dry, which you technically don't have to lube these up, but I imagine that's why it was a little more stuck. But not bad to get out. And now what you want to do is clean it out, especially if it's been greased before. Clean it out as best you can, and then there's this little groove up here at the front that the snap rings snap into. You want to make sure that is very clean. So I'm going to go through, just clean it out best I can. I don't have a bunch of grease in there, so it's a little easier, but clean yours out. Alright, so now you got your new mile marker hub. When they ship it with 2 screws just to hold it in place. So take out those 2 screws and then it will be ready to go in. So before you take it apart, make sure that the hub is in the free position here. You got your free, you got your lock. Make sure it's in the free position, and then you can just pop it open just like that. And you got your hub. So on this thing, when you put it in, well, one, they recommend lubing it up with some motor oil, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
I don't think they specifically say not to grease it, but they do say to lube it up with a light coating of motor oil. I think the logic behind oil and not grease is grease will probably have a higher tendency to attract and hold more dirt and grime in there. So motor oil will help with the install, and it won't have as much dirt and grime getting stuck inside your hub. But that's what they say to do, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, I'm going to paint it. So now when you put this in, the inner splines of the locker will engage on your axle first. And if you're having trouble getting it, so you'll engage the inner splines first, and then you got to just rotate it around until you get the sweet spot to get the outer splines engaged. What I have found is, and what they also recommend, if you're having troubles getting it engaged, what you can do is take a little pry bar or something. Try to do this where you can still see, but go take a little pry bar, go behind your axle, and pry up on your axle shaft just a little bit, and just like that, you can see it popped right in. So that's all it takes. If you're having trouble getting it lined up, use a little pry bar and just pry up on the U-joints back behind your axle, or back behind your hub, and lift up on the axle a little bit, and it should slide right in. Alright, so once you get that in place, you're going to have two different snap rings that they provide. One's a spiral lock snap ring that you can see here. In the instructions, they say to do the spiral lock first, and then the standard snap ring right here. Oddly enough, on their website or on their YouTube channel in the video, they say to do the standard one and then the spiral lock. I'm going to do the spiral lock first. That's what it says on the paper that I have with me. But we're going to take this and just work it into place. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Get one end started and then just work your way around. Just like this. Good to go. And I'm going to take my little pry bar and shove it back as far as I can all the way around. Alright, and then we will take the second snap ring here and put that in the same groove right in front of it. And it is a pretty tight fit. I'll show you a trick to make sure it's seated all the way, because you definitely want to make sure it's seated all the way. Alright, so once that's in, the little trick to make sure it's seated down in that groove all the way is I take my channel locks and just go right on that outer snap ring and squeeze it down into place all the way around. And for me, I can see just a little bit of a difference as it drops down into that groove. A little bit of peace of mind just knowing that it's all the way in there. Looks like it sits about 1 millimeter in farther than that spiral lock snap ring. If you want a little bit of reference, it just sits a little bit deeper in. And this may not be necessary. I heard it pop in when I got it in there, but like I said, just a little bit of peace of mind knowing that it is seated all the way in there. So once we got that, you're going to take your hub, or the outer part of your hub, and it's got this little pin here. Not sure how well you guys can see that. There it is. Little pin there, and it's got a reference hole right inside. Make sure it's still in the free position, and it'll drop into place. Then you can take a screw and put one in to hold it in place. Alright, so while that's held in place, we're going to take a little bit of blue Loctite. I don't think they technically call for blue Loctite, but I think it's a little bit of peace of mind here. Take a little bit of blue Loctite. It doesn't take much. And we're going to drop the rest of them in place. And then we'll take out that one that we did to start with. Put a little bit of Loctite on that, and it should be good to go to snug down the rest of the way. Now, they don't give a specific torque setting in the instructions. I don't anticipate these need to be super tight, especially with the Loctite. So I'm just going to go through in a star pattern and snug them all up to what I think is good, which isn't going to be all that tight. Just a little 2-finger snug. Just like that, it is done. You can give it a quick test. Helps if you turn it the right way. Should be able to hear it lock into place, and then if you look back behind the axle, you can see it spinning the axle shaft itself. Turn it back. There you go. And then they do include this little tool thing that I suppose if you want to, you can pop that on and make it very easy to turn. But I'll probably just throw this in the center console just in case I ever need it. So there you guys have it. That is as simple as it is. I'm going to go through and knock out the other side real quick, and then we will wrap up this video.
So there we go, both hubs are on the truck and working just as they should, which is always a nice end to another project. So I think this is where we're going to wrap up this video. If you guys found this video helpful or entertaining, maybe you went out and were trying to figure out how to do this, if you guys found it helpful, do me a huge favor and hit the thumbs up button. Best way you could support the channel and give you appreciation, and it means a lot to me. It makes a huge difference on the channel. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Mile marker if you tend to watch this. Clarification on those 2 snap rings would be great, but pretty sure I did it the right way. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to wrap up this video. Like I said, the final parts for the leveling kit should be showing up here very soon, I think in about 3 days. So we'll be wrapping that up very soon, and then there will be a video coming out on doing the Zone Off-Road 2.5-inch leveling kit on this truck. Overall, pretty darn happy with the quality of it. Found a few quirks that I ran into with this truck that I'll make sure to let you guys know in the video on that. But until then, thank you guys for watching. If you guys found this video helpful or useful, or you just enjoyed watching, do me a huge favor and hit that thumbs up button. It helps the channel out more than I can tell you guys. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one.